Good morning. My name is Dawnine, for those of you who don't know me, and welcome to 30 Days of Yoga with a Twist. I am a certified Hatha yoga instructor, and I decided to do this practice as a gift to the universe for the month of my 55th birthday. I've had this book since Christmas. My sister gave it to me, and I've debated about whether or not I wanted to do it in January to start the year, and then I decided I'd wait until my birthday. Well, we all know what happened in about February and March, and things kind of got crazy in the world. And the more I looked at this book, the more sense it makes to do it now. So this is the book, Faith with a Twist, and it is available on Amazon. And each day we will start with a prayer, some scripture from the Bible, a brief guided meditation, and then we will do a brief guided yoga practice. Now, for those of you who've never done yoga before, we're not going to do anything that you're absolutely not capable of doing. The poses are very much beginner, foundational in nature to begin a yoga practice and to build on those skills as we go through the month. And we will add some things to the practice. About every 3 days or so, we'll change the practice up a little bit, make it a little bit more difficult. I will give you modifications for every single pose so that if something feels uncomfortable or your body's not quite ready for it yet, that you'll still be able to join in and enjoy the practice. And again, for those of you that are beginners, yoga should not hurt. You may feel some deep stretches and you might be a little bit sore later in the day or sore tomorrow morning, but it should not hurt. This is going to be a very gentle practice, lots of stretching. There may be some moves that we do that feel a little bit uncomfortable because you're placing your feet and your hands and your arms and your legs in positions that you've maybe never done before. But just rest assured that I'll give you as much instruction as I can to help you make the poses comfortable and you feel comfortable in the practice. I don't usually teach with materials in front of me, but because I'm doing a guided practice for both myself and for you, I will be using this book because there's some things that I want to read from it to you to begin our practice, and some things on this first day together that I want to explain about this practice. Of course, yoga originated over 3,000 years ago, and it's an Eastern spiritual philosophy about connecting the mind and the body and the spirit. And this book actually puts a Christian perspective to it. So it's amazing as I've gone through this book how much of the Christian teaching aligns with the teachings of yoga. And so we're going to focus on a couple of things during this 30 days. And if you read the post that I made about this journey, you've already seen some of this, but I'll just give a brief refresher. So we're going to focus on 3 of yoga's 8 limbs or components: the yamas, the niyamas, and asana. Now, asana is the name of the postures that we do in yoga. And the yamas and niyamas serve as a bridge between our yoga mats and our lives. They help bring our faith out of Sunday morning worship or any other day of the week that you worship and into everyday life. So let me tell you a little bit about the yamas and the niyamas. I'm not going to go through the Sanskrit names for them, but I'm going to tell you what their English translation are. And many of these you're going to find align with some Christian teachings. The 10 Commandments come to mind, and then some other things in the New Testament as well. So the 5 yamas are nonviolence, truthfulness, non-stealing, moderation, and non-possessiveness or non-hoarding. The niyamas are purity, contentment, zeal, self-study, and devotion to God. So these are the ideas, if you will, that we will concentrate on. Some of them we'll do for maybe 2 or 3 days. We'll focus on the same yama or the same niyama, and then we'll move on to another one. So let's go ahead and start day number 1, and we're going to be working through the yama of nonviolence. So let's pray. Eternal God, in whose perfect kingdom no sword is drawn, but the sword of righteousness, no strength known but the strength of love, so mightily spread abroad your spirit, that all peoples may be gathered under the banner of the Prince of Peace, as children of one Father, to whom be dominion and glory, now and forever. Amen. And now we'll reflect. The concept of ahimsa, which is the yama of nonviolence, asks us to embrace nonviolence at the levels of speech, thought, and action. It means not causing harm to other living beings. Violence is a loaded word, isn't it? It makes us think of guns, beatings, and warfare. It is important that we stretch beyond this understanding of what it means to commit acts of violence. And how appropriate is that for us in our world today? Violence can take on many forms. Some forms of violence are obvious, others are less obvious. For instance, unkind words can hurt feelings, destroy self-esteem, undermine confidence, and radically change the direction of an individual's life or the life of a relationship. Some forms of violence are even sneakier. Thoughts fall squarely into this category. We all maintain an inner dialogue as we evaluate and judge our actions over the course of the day. It's not uncommon for people to be totally unconscious of this audio loop in our heads, and sometimes we are not kind to ourselves. How many of us do that? Chances are our inner voice may be among the cruelest voices we will ever hear. We can wreak violence on ourselves, and this kind of self-violence is deeply damaging. This is a habit or pattern that we need to notice, and by noticing it, we can begin to change it. A lot of my friends, myself included, suffer from insomnia. And you wake up in the middle of the night and that tape recorder in your head is going and going and going, and that paragraph right there speaks to me. Today, as you practice, notice how you treat your body and the words you are saying about yourself while you are on your mat. Are you pushing yourself too hard in a way that might lead to injury? That's a big no-no in yoga. Are you being overly critical of your perceived lack of progress to obtain a goal you had hoped you would reach by now? That's also a big no-no in yoga. Today's invitation is to end this violence, whether it be on your mat or in the world, by ending it first in yourself. When we go through life with an awareness of the ways of our words, thoughts, and deeds could potentially harm ourselves or others, the feelings of love and connectedness that arise are astounding. As we begin to practice, we should be aware of the ripple effect of each thought, word, and deed. Practicing ahimsa, again that's nonviolence, helps us reject the illusion of separateness and accept the reality that we are all deeply connected to one another. As we practice ahimsa, we move ever closer to the understanding that we are enacting love when we practice nonviolence. This love is the tie that binds us all together. When we live nonviolently, those around us cease to be violent. And now we will begin our practice. And some things that you might want to consider, and if you need to stop the video now and go gather these things together. If you don't have a water bottle, you need one. And you can stop at any time during practice and you can grab a water bottle or grab a drink from the bottle. Some of the stretches that we're doing, you may not feel your body is ready to do, so you can always have a strap available. This is one of my husband's belts that I use. You can also use, if you have a mat that rolls up, the strap that goes around your mat is also a good option for that. I wear gloves and sticky socks because I sweat and I slide on my mat, but you don't need those things. But if you do find that you sweat and you slide a little bit, these are easy to find in all kinds of different local retailers. So we're going to do our first practice, and it's going to last maybe 15 to 20 minutes at most today. And the first thing I'm going to have you do is to stand up, and we're going to come to either end of your mat. We'll begin in mountain pose. Feet are a hip distance apart, standing up nice and tall, shoulders are back, chin is lifted. You're going to take a deep breath, raise the arms, and exhale, bending at the waist into forward fold. We're going to do a series called Sun Salutation. Some of you may be familiar with that. Now let your head, neck, and shoulders relax. Your knees can be slightly bent here, if that's more comfortable. Now let's inhale and lift halfway up and look out. And exhale back in. Relax the head, neck, and shoulders. Take a deep breath. And as we exhale, we're going to walk our hands out and come into plank. Your hands should be right under your shoulders. Your hips should be down low like the top of a push-up. You're up on your toes. During plank at any time, if you feel like you need a break, you can drop down to your knees, keeping your toes engaged with the mat. Keep your core nice and tight. Don't hold your breath. Breathe in and out nice and deep, in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more deep breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to crocodile. Bend the elbows, keeping them close to the body. Lower the body all the way down. Relax the feet. Forehead down to the mat. Take a deep breath. Exhale, push the upper body up into cobra. Now, if this irritates your lower back, you can bend your elbows slightly. It takes the pressure off the back. Now, if you're a little more advanced in your practice here, you can go into upward dog, where we are in cobra, but we raise our thighs off of the mat. So we're resting on the tops of our feet and the palms of our hands. Now let's bring our toes engaged with the mat. Take a deep breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to lift our hips, lift our knees, push back onto your heels into downward facing dog. Your head comes in between your elbows. Your heels are pushing down towards the earth. Your fingers are reaching out away from your body, pressing downward. Breathing deep in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's take one more deep breath. And as you exhale, walk your hands slowly back towards your feet. We come back into forward fold. Let your head, neck, and shoulders relax. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly raise the upper body. Let your arms and head hang loose. Head is the last thing to come up, and we're back in mountain pose where we started. Take a deep breath, raise the arms, and exhale, blow it out. Now check for your body right now. You may feel a little bit dizzy or lightheaded. That's okay. If you need to sit down and take a break, that's fine also. If you need to take a drink of water, which I think I'll do. Now we're going to go into another series called triangle. You're going to come into a pose called five-pointed star. Your feet are going to be wide on your mat. Your toes are facing forward. Your torso is up nice and straight. Arms will extend, palms facing downward. Now I am your mirror image. So when I tell you right, you're going to be using your right foot, right arm, right side. But it's actually going to be my left, okay, because I'm your mirror image. So I want you to turn your right toes out. Your left toes are still facing forward. Now you're going to bring your left hip out, and that's going to make your body start to tip over. And we're going to come down into forward triangle. Now if you need to stop and grab onto your shin for support, you can. But this is actually a balancing pose. We want to work up to get our tips of our fingers right at the arch of the foot. Torso is facing forward. And then if you can, turn your head and look up at your uplifted arm. One more deep breath. And exhale, pushing slowly back to five-pointed star. Turn the palms to face down. Turn the right toes forward. Left toes are now going to point out. Torso still facing forward. Right hip extends, and we tip over for forward triangle once more. And again, stopping to grab for balance if you need to, or fingertips down at the arch of the foot, turning the face towards the uplifted hand. One more deep breath, and exhale slowly back to five-pointed star. Palms face down, toes face forward. Drop the arms, Now take a deep breath, raise the arms. And now exhale, bending at the waist, we'll come into a wide leg forward fold. Again, let the head, neck, and shoulders relax. Bend your knees slightly if this stretch feels a little bit too deep right now. One more deep breath. And exhale, slowly rising back up. Head and arms are loose. Now we're going to go through a warrior series. So from 5-pointed star, we're going to again turn the right toes out, keeping the left toes facing forward. Now we're going to put a bend in the knee. So lunging forward. Now check your knee position. Make sure that your knee doesn't go too far forward over your toes. You want your knee to be right over your ankle. Now we're going to turn our torso to face our knee. Raise the arms, palms are facing forward, and then arch the back slightly, looking up between your uplifted hands. This is Warrior 1, it's a version of Warrior 1. You're breathing nice and deep in through the nose, out through the mouth. And on your next exhale, we'll come to Warrior 2. So the body is going to turn back to the front. Hips are square, shoulders are square to the front. We're going to drop the arms back into almost like we had them in 5-pointed star. Now keeping your torso facing forward, turn your head to look over your right arm. One more deep breath in. And as you exhale, we'll come into Peaceful Warrior. The back arm's going to drift down, looking for the back of the knee. The front arm comes forward, turn the palm towards your face, looking up. Being sure that that front knee is still over the ankle. One more deep breath. And exhale back to Warrior 2. Make sure the shoulders and the hips are square to the front. Looking out over the front arm. One more deep breath. And exhale, dropping the arms, take the bend out of the knee. And let's trade feet. So right toes face forward, left toes face out. Place the bend in that front knee. Extend the arms as in 5-pointed star. Turn the torso towards the front knee, uplift the arms, looking up through the uplifted hand. Check that front knee, make sure that it's right over the ankle, not tracking forward. One more deep breath. And exhale into Warrior 2. Extending the arms, palms facing down. Make sure that the hips and shoulders face forward. Turn the gaze over your front arm. One more deep breath. And as you exhale, come into Peaceful Warrior. Back arm goes down, looking to the back of the knee. Front arm comes up, palm towards your face, looking up. Still checking the angle on that front knee. One more deep breath. And exhale back to Warrior 2. Square shoulders and hips. One more deep breath. And exhale, dropping the arms. Take the bend out of the knee. Turn the toes forward, and then let's come back to mountain pose. Take a deep breath, and exhale. Now slowly make your way back down onto your mat, into a seated position. We're going to do a few things from a seated position. If you have a strap that you want to use You might want to have that close by just in case you feel like you need it. If you need to take a sip of water, now would be a good time for that also. So we're going to turn long ways on the mat, extend the legs. Sitting up nice and tall, make sure your pelvis is engaged with the mat. And we're going to do a seated forward fold. So as we did in mountain pose, we'll take a deep breath, raise the arms. And as you exhale slowly, bending at the waist. And only go down as far as what feels comfortable. You'll feel a little bit of pressure in the lower back. You'll feel the stretch behind your knees. Don't go to the point that it's painful, just to the point that you feel that stretch behind the knees. Still breathing nice and deep in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more deep breath in. Try to deepen the stretch just a little bit if you can. And on exhale, we'll come back up nice and tall. Now we're going to do a couple of seated twists. And the first one we're going to do, I'm going to do it to where I'm facing the camera and you can see exactly what I'm doing with my arms and my hands and everything else, okay? So I'm going to take my left foot, I'm going to put it over my right knee, and I'm going to place my foot flat on the mat just to the side of my knee. Now still sitting up nice and tall, shoulders are back. We're going to bring the right elbow around to the outside of that knee. Now you're going to feel yourself start to twist at the low back. So using your elbow as leverage, we're going to twist around. Your other hand can be behind you for support. And then we're going to raise the palm. And just let your lower back relax. Each time that you inhale, try to deepen the stretch just a little bit. One more deep breath. And as we exhale, we'll relax, extend the legs once more. And now we'll do it on the other side. So the other foot's going to come around right to the outside of the knee, flat on the mat. Bring that opposite elbow around to the outside of the knee. Again, the back hand comes back for support. Twisting around, raise the palm. One more deep breath. And let's unwind. Now let's come around and face the front of our mat and just come to a comfortable seated position. Now if you'd like to try lotus position, you take one foot, place it on the top of the opposite thigh. That's half lotus. If you want to try full lotus, now this is a challenge on your hips. You take the other foot and bring it onto the opposite thigh. However you're seated, make sure you're up nice and tall. Shoulders are back, chin is lifted. Just take a few deep breaths here. And let your head drop down, bring the chin towards the chest. Let's raise the chin back up. And take a deep breath, raise the arms. And bring your palms together, bring the hands down to heart center. I thank you for joining me on day 1 of Yoga with a Twist. And I hope that you will join me again tomorrow and that you'll find this to be a journey that will help you through everything that we've all been through in the past few months and the things that we still have to come, the challenges that we still have to face. And that you will be able to use what you learned in practice today with our devotional and our prayer and scripture, that you can apply those to your day today and have a wonderful, productive day good night's sleep tonight, and hopefully I'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, the divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste.